This episode of Outdoor Journal Radio is brought to you in part by the Invasive Species Centre, protecting Canada's land and water from invasive species. Freedom Cruise Canada, rent the boat, own the memories. And J&B Cycle and Marine, your home for all things power sports, boats, and equipment. I love the enthusiasm. That one guy especially, you know.
Yeah, there's one guy in there, isn't there?
I love the enthusiasm. I love that. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Angelo Viola, Peter Bowman, Nikki V, and Mr. Dean Taylor.
Wow.
Over there. The usual suspects, bringing you another wonderful Outdoor Journal Radio, the podcast. And today, for me personally, this is a long overdue program, way overdue. And the reason being is that I'm very into today's subject, which is ticks. Ticks and tick-borne diseases.
Yes, sir.
Later on in the program, we'll be joined by Dr. Catherine Bouchard from Montreal. She's a research scientist and veterinary epidemiologist from the epidemiology fraternity.
That's a word and a half right there.
With the Ticks and Tick-Borne Disease Unit, a public health agency of Canada. You can't even get that on a business card. You know what I'm saying?
She's got to be proud of all that.
You need
right?
a plaque to carry that around as a business card.
It's on her shoulder.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, check me out.
Catherine is an adjunct professor at the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine at the University of Montreal, and she began studying ticks in 2008. So she is definitely
she knows her ticks.
The deal. For sure. So she'll join us here in a couple of minutes. There'll be some interesting stories, I'm sure, that will come up.
We haven't talked about it in a long time. So to see if there's an update, if there's anything changes, that'd be cool.
The store manager has finally, last week, kicked open the doors on the 50% off sale.
Yes, I have.
Of the current Fish in Canada swag inventory. And
is it up to 50% or 50% off?
So it's up to, but a lot of it, I'm going to say 50% of the store is 50% off. Honest to God.
50% of 50%. I like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I like
so
that.
a good half of the store is half off.
So these things we're seeing here, the big brook trout and the big
those are
walleye.
33%, but it's okay because it looks really nice with 50.
You might want to watch that. Somebody's gonna.
It's going really well. You guys are great. Again, thank you very much for the support from the fans. Not you two.
You two. I thought he was talking about us.
I did too.
Keep it
for
in
once,
boys.
For once, he was saying something nice, and it never happened.
No, but it's. I just want to shout out the fans who are buying the merch, repping the merch.
Well, they're getting great deals.
They're getting great deals.
Can't blame them.
But I just hope that you guys are going to be appreciative of this sale because when the new stuff comes in, you're gonna have to upgrade at some point.
Oh yeah.
And you're gonna want to. This new stuff is.
I can't wait. And Dean and I haven't even seen this stuff.
No, you haven't.
Just the two V guys here, Angie V and Nikki V.
They're gonna be like Christmas for you.
Yeah.
You see all this neat.
It's cool.
Can't wait.
40th season well underway. For those of you who haven't been tuning in for whatever reason, fear not. Fear not.
They've been boycotting.
It starts all over again from episode 1. That's the 40th season, the 40th anniversary of the Fish in Canada show, celebrating 4 decades of programming every year, 52 weeks a year, coming into your home. And we're honored that you shared us with your family because it's become very much a generational brand. And we're thrilled to death with that. Airs Saturday mornings, for those of you who may not know, on Global Television Network here in Canada, coast to coast to coast. Well, except the left coast, they get up a little late, so we thought we would change that for them. It's 10 and 10:30 BC and Alberta, respectively. Of course, every Monday morning after the episode goes up on Saturdays, it goes to YouTube and lives there forever, as well as the Sportsman's Channel nationally here in Canada and the World Fishing Network nationally in the U.S. of A.
Yeah, I saw us on Sportsman the other day. I flipped through and just finally I hit the right timing on it. So it was one of the secondary. I think I don't know how many airings they have, but even a day. But I saw Sportsman.
It's cool to see us on that. I don't know why, but it just is. For some
it's just
reason.
nice specialty channel. We're special.
I
right?
told
We're
you they had a
guys.
commercial about the show there, and you would think that I wasn't even involved in the episode. The main character was Nikki V.
That's me, baby.
I'm going to have to talk to those guys about this setup here. Wow.
You and I were like in the background, I think, in one scene.
They're forward thinkers.
We look like the boat jockeys, sort of getting their boat ready for Nikki and Dean.
Nick and Dean, here you go.
Steve was on the
Steve was
Can I
there.
tie up your baits for you guys? And
you and I, we're just an afterthought. We're kind of there, but we're not.
Boat jockeys and caddy and tackle caddies. Wow.
God help me.
Well, I guess they're the future, bud. So
Well, I
maybe
guess
they're
so.
hinting.
Listener feedback this week comes in response to the Fly versus Gear episode on YouTube. James Moreland, $38.99 via YouTube. Wow, that's a nice, handsome looking
$38.99
critter on that screen. And the fish, the guy holding the fish, and the fish aren't bad either. Thank you.
Oh!
Thank you. James says, as an avid listener and watcher of all things fish in Canada, thank you, James.
Thanks, James.
I
That's
must
awesome,
say,
buddy.
I never noticed the elephant in the room until episode, and he's got a little funny face, laughing face. Also, does this upload mean we have a bunch of footage stacked for the rest of the... Oh, I see what you're saying. I get you now.
I see what you're saying.
We're not at liberty to say. We did have to sign a lot of paperwork saying that we wouldn't discuss it, but there may be a lot of that kind of footage coming up for the YouTube channel this year. Keep an eye out for it. So he says he wasn't aware of the elephant in the room. And for those of you who haven't seen the YouTube drop of last week, I believe it was, we did an episode that... We struggled with it, Dean. Maybe you can jump in on this one. We struggled with it, but we finally made a decision that I think it would be a good content for the viewership because we dealt with the elephant in the room we're talking about is our very own, our lovely, our talented Dean Taylor, producer.
And handsome.
And handsome, lovely. Well, lovely, I think would kind of
but
cover
that's
that.
kind of feminine kind of thing. You know,
You're such a, like, what is the matter with
handsome.
you?
I think Dean's like a rugged...
Get those knuckles off the ground. Put them in your pocket or something. You're dragging. Look at the marks.
It sounds like they're both pretty into you, Dean. Not gonna lie.
Where we brought to light the fact that Dean has a speech impediment.
I could have been in hiding still, though, by the sounds of it. I didn't need to come out.
Yeah, because obviously James wasn't even aware of it.
Yeah, but that's what we had discussed. So when this episode, we never really knew if it would air. But the first time I got put on the spot to go on camera, which was Lake Obabaca, where we knew it had to air. Like no matter...
That's right.
Like we had no choice. It had to air. You and I talked about that for a while, Ange. Like, do we mention it just so it's out of the way, or do we not? And I wasn't really comfortable with the idea of putting it out there yet. And even when we started editing this episode, it was not in the plans at all. Ange came to me after another version of the episode was already pretty much
put together.
Yeah, it was pretty much put together, and said, how would you feel now about weaving that story into this? Because it was the real story of...
So did you guys just come up with that? Like when we did this edit here just in the past? Like, Dan, you came up with that?
We saw the finished actual show, because this was an episode that we shot a few years ago, but it never aired.
Yeah.
And so we said, we should just put that together, because it was a great episode.
Of course.
And
it was good. It is good.
And we'll put it in the cycle for next year. Not this year, but next year. 2027 broadcast season. And so it was put together, and then Dean and I looked at it, and I thought it was great. Dean thought, because Dean and I were the hosts of that episode. And I just thought, because I recall the whole experience and all the discussions Dean and I have had about it. And I said, why don't we tell the whole story? Mm-hmm. Why don't we kind of reel this back in a little bit? And instead of starting there, let's start a little bit farther back and tell the real story. And to Dean's credit, he He said, yeah, man.
Yeah, it still isn't a comfortable process for me. Even watching it as many times as I had to, it was still like, I wanted to like look away at the part where we actually put like a stutter on camera, because it's just not something I'm used to. I'm used to kind of hiding it and dancing around it. So it's still kind of weird to just see it out there. But I think it's good overall.
I think it's
a great episode.
I think
boys.
it's excellent.
It's a great episode, and
anybody who didn't like that episode, man, I don't know.
Both parts of it, both the elephant in the room and the fishing. That fishing was outstanding.
Yeah.
The fly versus gear. That's a great set. I love that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
And so we decided let's do that. Let's re-edit this puppy and let's make it the real story, but not for television. We were just thinking in terms of YouTube, and so we did, and that's what is out there now, and that's what James is referring to. And we'd like any feedback at all that you have on it, because it is a little different style for us in terms of producers. And I'd like to know what you thought, good, bad, or indifferent. Like, know what you thought.
You know, it's funny. TV is a funny thing too, though, because you can hide anything you want. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about myself. I bet you there's still thousands of people out there have no idea. I'm 5'3" and 125 pounds. People, because when they see me at a sportsman show or so, they're, hey, Dean knows all about this. Oh my God, is he ever short? Right? Is he ever short? You know what I mean? It's funny how TV sort of hides stuff. Well, not that we try to show it, just don't even think of showing it, right?
I remember when I met Steve, I thought he was a monster. Like I imagined he was like
6'8".
Yeah, like 6'8", because like just on camera, like his hands are massive. He just looks like this massive, but he's like my height.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's weird.
Let's get nothing twisted. Old Stepcho is a big boy.
Yeah,
big,
right? Yeah. Tom Cruise on what's the South Park? Tiny Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is my size almost.
So
do you do your own stunts as well, Pete?
I let Ange do my stunts for me.
Okay.
I can't. I don't like that getting beat up like that. So.
If you haven't seen the episode,
it's a good one. It's a really good episode.
I would suggest you go check it out. What's it called, Dean?
It has a few titles working right now.
Do you want to share that? Do you guys want to share that experience?
I don't know.
Can we do that, or is that not?
Well, I don't know if we. It's very interesting. I know what Ange going.
Personally, what's Google going to do? Shut us down?
Yeah.
Is YouTube going to shut us down?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So,
they've attempted to shut us down already.
Right, exactly. Well, maybe we could just quickly tell that story, because I think it's fascinating. It's all part and parcel of this episode, by the way.
Do you want to start her off, Dean? I'll get the facts up and ready.
Yeah, so YouTube has a feature now. It's called an A/B test, where you can test out a few different titles. So we went with some more YouTube-y titles this time.
Why would you test different titles, Dean? Why would you do that? What would be a reasoning for that?
Well, because we're trying to crack the algorithm. Everything is controlled by this machinery that we don't quite understand. That sometimes it pushes the video, sometimes it won't. So we gave it 3 different options. One was centered around the speech impediment. One was saying that I'm a camera guy who got put on camera, who didn't know it was going to happen, which is not that much of a stretch, but it's not necessarily the truth.
You held a camera once, I think.
I held a camera. The other one was just about fly versus gear. So we ran all 3 to see which one would do best. This was recommended by YouTube that we did this. Then it flagged us for clickbait.
Hang on. Yeah. When you say it's recommended by YouTube, explain what that means to the audience.
So
explain what you go through to get these titles.
So they recommend that, because they like to keep the algorithm very mysterious. So they recommend that you try a bunch of different options. They give you some suggestions on what that should be, what kind of guidelines to follow. So we did that. We use some other sources to confirm that these titles should be working. And for the most part, they have been working for us.
Yeah.
This time we got flagged for clickbait, saying that the contents of the video were not properly represented by the title.
And this is kind of where it goes off the rails.
Yes.
So I've dealt with this before. I don't know if you guys remember a previous podcast where we discussed the tariffs and boat prices. God, I hope that didn't just flag this video too.
You use the T word.
We're going to beat that T word, buddy.
You know, Big Daddy T word was used.
Beat the T.
Anywho. So this time around, we got flagged for copyright. And I had to get on the phone. Well, first I had to talk to an AI robot for about half an hour. And then I was able to get on the phone with YouTube and go, guys, what the hell? This isn't click. If anything, this is one of our least clickbaity things. He wasn't ready. And the title was, specifically, he was never on camera, and then this happened.
which was exactly
the
what happened.
storyline.
Right.
You guys should go watch the video. It's really good. Right. So after about half an hour of being on the phone with the policy advisor, his recommendation was to change the title from that to "He was never on camera," and then also "A very good thing happened to him."
What?
Yes.
So apparently that was more accurately
less
described
less
our
clickbaity.
episode.
And let me tell you, he swore me up and down that one, it's going to work, and two, it's going to be even better. And listen to me, my friend. Listen to me, because he was never on camera, and then also a very good thing happened to him.
That's it.
Was the ticket. That was the golden ticket. So after about another 20 minutes of laughing at that, after I got off the phone, that's us and the boys, I made that the title. And lo and behold, I'm looking at it right now. Status disapproved because of
Not
this.
approved.
It lasted for about 45 seconds before it got disapproved. So I got to call them back. Google, I got your number right here.
So
I'm calling you.
if you haven't seen the video, that might be
Why?
it's buried. It's having trouble getting out to our audience because of this issue.
Can you imagine? Can you
And the
imagine?
best part is the guy who sorted me up and down was just as wrong as I am. And the other, if any of you are making YouTube videos, it used to be human interference. Like if you got flagged for clickbait or whatever against their policy, a person used to review your video. They had a department for it.
Right.
It's now a robot.
Right.
You can't negotiate with a robot. This is like turbo. I feel like I'm Skynet is coming to get us right now.
The Terminator.
This episode might not even go up as far as
Now we might be screwed.
Yeah, now we're really going to get screwed. But anyways, it was an interesting story. We thought we'd share it with you both pre and post putting the episode up. You need to go check it out. It's just that good. And we would really appreciate commentary. And it doesn't have to be good, bad, or indifferent. Just let us know what you thought of it. Maybe some highlight points throughout the episode that you really found interesting. Because it does help us in how we produce things. We don't just wake up in the morning and say, all right, let's go this direction. We rely a lot on our audience and our fans. They tell us. That's how, Getting There, it was born some 14 years ago. When
14, more now.
I think,
huh?
is it closer to 20?
Oh my God, yeah.
I
way
think
more
so,
than that.
but I think so.
It was because audiences were saying, that's all well and good, but I need to know where you are so that I can experience it too. And we deliberated over that for some time. And then we said, you know what? They're absolutely right. Why would we not? What's the big secret? Why would we not tell them where we are? And so we did that. And thank you for suggesting that many years ago, because it's become probably the most talked about segment on the Fishing Canada show, is the fact that we drive you to the spot or fly you to the spot in every episode.
Yep.
So anyways, thank you. Jason Moreland, $38.99.
James Moreland.
Yeah, Jason, James. It's a J.
J Moreland. How's that?
All right.
J. Moreland.
I just realized
JM.
last episode how many things I let slide that you say that that's not correct. But you correct me on every single blunder that I make.
I didn't just correct you there.
That
he
was
did.
me. That was my fault.
That came in one ear.
Beep that.
I was talking to him.
Okay. Just looking at me vicariously. Oh, a reflection of my glasses.
Well, I didn't want to be accused of saying that, so I thought I'd bounce it through you.
You writing down the time code of that one for me, Dean? I'm gonna have to
What
do.
the bleep?
There's gonna be a sound effect.
Sorry about that, boy. That was right from the heart, boys.
Jesus Vader.
God help us. You see what I got to do around here.
And to think I'm only an adjunct store manager.
Thank God
you're
for
a
that,
junkie,
because
so
I don't
you
think
are.
we could. What's the opposite of adjunct, by the way?
Full time, isn't it?
Is that easy? That's
Google.
simple.
Yeah, I think full time.
I say
or
full
it?
timer.
Isn't there
permanent.
Permanent, yeah.
Tenured.
Tenured. I like
Years,
that, Dean.
11 years, 12 years. That's it, Matt, one of those.
Speaking of Conservation Corner and, of course, grass carp, which we need to here for a moment.
As we usually do, absolutely.
Now's a great time, if you haven't already, get yourself up to date on what's going on with the grass carp invasion. Yes, it is an invasion because there is evidence We have physical evidence that there are some issues with it being across the border and into
I
our
want us to
waters.
prove it this year. I'd love to have
I
us-
would love to. Are we going to be in any waters that you know of where that could
Not
take
right
place?
at the moment, but it's Georgian Bay. We're going to try to
Oh,
maybe
my goodness.
Lake Ontario, maybe. So
Lake Ontario, for
Lake
sure.
Erie would be the one to probably really show
Yeah.
us colors. But God, it'd be just so
Love
cool
to
to
see
get
it.
one on a net and
Just to
and
videotape
film it.
it.
And yeah, exactly, because they look just like that. And trust us, when we see it, not only are we going to know what it looks like, we're going to show what it looks like too. We're going to make sure everybody sees this, and if it happens to us. So.
Go to invasivespecies.ca and download all the information there. Carry it with you when you're on the water this year.
Do you want to correct him, Dean?
Sure.
Invasivecarp.ca.
Because I don't want to do that anymore. I might F-bomb him again or something. And you wonder why, right? You just say,
Well,
why do they
Invasive
pick on you?
Species Center, then. It is the
There,
Invasive
there,
Species
yes,
Center.
absolutely. You got that. Correct. I'm gonna-
Brought to you, this next piece, the news, brought to you by J&B Cycle and Marine. Your good friends when it comes to boat packages, Princecraft, Mercury, and such items. J&B Cycle is the place to go. And if you're going online to check them out, jbcycle.com will suffice.
Them are good people. They're our
What's
friends.
in the
Everybody's
news,
friends.
my friend?
News. What happens if ticks, because we're going to be talking ticks today, disappeared? Good question. From futura.sciences.com. Ticks have existed for about 140 million years. Wow. And feed on the blood of mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians. Animals that benefit from ticks. Birds such as guinea fowl. Do we have guinea fowl here? No.
Not unless they're
Where's that?
illegal and somebody's brought them in
Well,
their
I
suitcase.
mean, it's happening in the fish world, so why wouldn't it happen in the bird world?
I had a cousin one time,
Is he
years ago.
From New Guinea?
No, this guy, this is a true
Papua
story.
New Guinea.
Are you asking if it's Guinea because that's a slur against Italians?
Probably. He's
Guinea
one
fowl.
of,
What the
he's one
hell
of
are you
those
talking
manja
about?
cakes that does that a
Manja
lot.
cake.
See,
Guinea
you,
haters.
you people.
Speaking of slurs against
you got
Italians,
problems.
I had a cousin. He's no longer with us, so I'm good with telling the story.
Did I know him?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
right.
He smuggled. Like, I don't even know. Like, I'm saying this now, and I don't even know how the hell you would do this.
Oh, no.
He smuggled in 3 pair, that's 6 individual
Yeah.
pigeons
Oh, my God.
on the airplane and through customs
Yeah, how did
on
he
his
do that?
body.
And maybe he is right to
I'm
call us
laughing.
guineas. I don't know.
I'm laughing, but
He had to
that's
have
exactly how invasive species get transported
Yeah,
from one jurisdiction
absolutely.
to another. This guy, now this would have been back in the 50s, right? This guy smuggled 6 pigeons on his body on an airplane through customs into Canada.
Holy crap. That's one smuggler. That's a good smuggler.
Was this pre 2001?
Oh, I'm telling you, it's in the 50s.
Oh, in the 50s.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Wow.
And he raised these things and started breeding them.
And he didn't. You couldn't get that pigeon species in Canada, obviously. Right?
No. And he raised them, and he became known in the circle, the pigeon circle, as the guy.
So
with
if
this rare.
they're sold now, which they probably are, he could have been the.
He brought him
introduced
in.
it.
Yeah. On his body, 6 pigeons, not
Stuck in his
sparrows.
pockets.
Anyways, sorry. Just thought about
Birds such as animals that benefit from ticks. Birds such as guinea fowl, chickens, wild turkeys, ducks, and some ground feeding species eat ticks directly. Reptiles like lizards and amphibians consume ticks opportunistically. Invertebrates, including ants, spiders, and beetles, also prey on ticks. So there's a lot of it. Now, I'm going to say, do these things need
No.
ticks to live? No, they don't.
So that was the conclusion. It's not so much a news article, but it was a study that went out, I guess, that was looking at how necessary are they, because you hear that a
Right.
lot with like mosquitoes, and there's always
Right.
like a trickle down effect.
There's always something that fills a little
Yeah.
void, little niche, right?
So most of their niche is population control by spreading disease. Like
right.
that's mostly their role. So when I looked it up, I mean, I think we
sad is that?
could annihilate them, and that's why I put the picture behind you. I think that's what that would be like Oshawa. if we just got, like, it would just be paradise. We just eliminate them. There'd be no problems.
Is it something that we could ask the doctor later on in the program? Can we be trusted to remember to ask
No.
him?
No, I won't remember that.
I think possums also eat ticks, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah, you're probably
I think
right.
they're the only
They carry a lot of
marsupial.
them too.
Yeah, they look like a
do
tick
think-
carrier.
Yeah.
They're just
I do
an
think they eat
ugly
them as
looking
well.
beast. Predators that, okay, so if ticks disappeared, so here we go. Predators that eat ticks would likely switch to other prey with minimal impact, of course. Deer and rodent populations could increase, potentially affecting vegetation and ecosystem balance. Loss of tick-borne diseases would reduce a natural population control mechanism. So, yeah, human impact, likely drop in tick-borne diseases like Lyme disease.
No kidding.
Kind of nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I guess. Bottom line, ecosystems would adjust, not collapse, but expect shifts in wildlife populations and food web dynamics.
I think
So
it's
Yeah, it's going to be
So
interesting stuff.
basically that says let's get rid of them and not have to even
It
discuss
says we
them
could certainly-
anymore.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, our guest coming up might put her out of a job.
Well, that's true too.
You know what I mean? So she's going to
Yeah, she might have something to say
save the
about it.
tick.
Yeah.
Right.
I doubt it, but fan question. By the way, nicely done. That is all available on fishandcanada.com if you want to read the whole story and nothing but the story.
So, and they
Without
could see
our
that on
antics.
our newly fixed up mobile site too, could they not?
By the way,
Yeah, we
for
should
those
mention
of
that.
you out there, it was brought to our attention by a new member of the crew, the staff here, that our mobile server, well, it wasn't the server, it was the site itself, was not doing justice to the Fishing Canada site.
It was not a portal or a gateway.
It was not a portal.
It was a roadblock.
or gateway.
Quality
it was
control
a
was a little
roadblock.
down.
And we don't know how long that's been going on, but it now is fixed. And if you would like to see all of this wonderful stuff we talk about here on the program every week about fishandcanada.com or even the store for that matter, you can now go to your mobile unit like Mr. Bowman is doing right now, and you can get you can have the full experience now.
It's a beautiful thing.
The full experience, all available at fishandcanada.com. Now, that's not considered an app, though,
No, it's
Really?
a web page.
It's a web page on
website,
your phone.
Website, yeah.
as opposed to an app. What's the difference? Do we? anybody know?
I like to take a nap about 1 o'clock in the
You
afternoon.
take a nap. You take a nap. Anytime I'm gone out of this main part of the building and into my office, there's nap city for you. I know.
I've learned to nap with my eyes open, so it looks like I'm there, but I'm not. I'm getting some good snooze in.
There you go, gentlemen. I have the definition for you in front of you.
Thank you. And what does it say, my friend?
Wow. It's a 40-inch screen. All right. It says web apps accessed via browsers and mobile apps installed via app stores differ primarily in accessibility and device integration.
Okay.
There's your
Our site looks
definition.
amazing. Matt, good job, buddy, on the site. It looks amazing.
Isn't that nice?
Round of applause
I love
for
it.
Matt.
Yeah, we'll have to bring him. We'll have to bring Matt.
Nicely done.
We'll have to bring Matt onto the show and introduce him to the audience because he made that all possible.
That's
Had nothing to do with the rest of us.
Yeah.
And he's the
We
extra
suck.
help I brought for that store, by the way.
Oh,
that
okay. So
sale
you
would
get-
not be happening without the wonderful help.
The new edition of
our
Matt's.
new edition.
Okay.
All right.
Very good.
Fan question of the week submitted by Charlie Vanier via email. Via email means diddly squat for
That's right.
Charlie, right?
Squat for Chucky, baby.
Diddly squat. But thank you for the email. We appreciate it. He says, hey, guys, I was watching your latest episode in the Northwest Territories. Yeah, baby. And couldn't get over. That's not the latest episode, though. So, but anyways.
That's the one we were talking about before, right?
Right.
A YouTube episode.
YouTube, maybe. Yeah. But anyways, couldn't get over how insane the bugs were. I'm glad somebody pointed out how bad the bugs were because we didn't really talk about them on the show. We kind of worked around them, but you could see them in the lens. They were constantly...
I said that to Dean when we were doing the edit. I said, "Do you remember that? But man, I forgot all about those bugs. It's just right there in your face."
But they weren't biting, right? They weren't really
Well, they weren't
bad.
biting bugs. Those were not.
Yeah,
I
they
think
were
they were
just-
like gnats or something. They were some kind
They
of a
were
weird, different
big-ass
bugs, right,
bugs,
Dean?
though.
They weren't.
We got told actually that they do eventually bite.
okay.
We were about a week away from those things
Oh,
biting.
timing was right
Yeah.
then.
He says, you guys didn't seem too fazed by it, but I've got to ask, has it ever gotten so bad that it actually ruined the fishing experience or even stopped you from shooting? I've started avoiding midsummer trips with my daughters because it just doesn't seem worth putting them through that. And
That's a good point.
I can think of one where I could have easily called it off, but because we were in a fly-in remote location, we couldn't do that. And my God, I think I've told this story before. When we got there, so it was a fly-in camp, little shack in the woods. That's a whole other story. But anyways, it was a fly-in camp, and when we got there, the float plane, dropped us off. He said, "Are you guys going to be okay?" I said, "Yeah, why?" Well, I've never seen bugs this bad before. I said, "Oh God, it'll be all right. We do this we do this every day of the year, right?" Anyways, off you go. Get away from here. Let's. So the plane takes off, and the plane hadn't even honestly completely. It was still taxiing when I realized his comment might have been true, because now I realized the enormity of the problem that was at hand. This wasn't a bug problem. This was an invasion of bugs. And normally bugs are just a nuisance, but these were those great big deer flies.
Horseflies,
sorry. Was there a combo, or was it just the one?
It was mostly horseflies.
And they were big and nasty. But, that's okay. So we put our stuff away and get ready to go out, and there was 2 tin boats that we were going to use. They were upside down, and we had to turn them over and drag them into the lake and mount the motors, etc. And as we're doing that, I noticed on the boats, on this one boat in particular, that along the inner gunnel, the wall of the boat, it was looked like a wall in a prison, where the inmate had been marking down, 1, 2, 3, 4, scratch 5, 1, 2, 3. And there was like 20 or 30 of these times 5 little symbols on the boat. And I said to Pete, I said, "My God, the fishing must be outstanding on this lake. Look at this. They're counting them by putting strokes on the thing." We found out what they were counting. They were counting the number of bugs that they killed, that they had to kill. And I swear, the boats, there must have been 200 or 300 of these 5 strokes, because that's how many you had to kill just to make it through the day. It was the worst.
Yeah.
We would have flown out had we had the opportunity. It was that bad.
Because it wasn't just the horseflies, because the horseflies went to sleep. They take off nicely at night, but then the skeeters come out as doubled the number of horseflies. Like, it was unbelievable. And then the black flies in the morning. It was unreal.
And the reason we know that is because, at night some of us at a certain age, you have to get up a few times and go out and get rid of the liquid you consume during the day. And after the first night, I think everybody except Steve decided, no, I'll just hold it. I'll just stand in the corner there all night long, and I'll just hold it, because I am not going out there, because it was insane in the middle of the night. It was
my God. But we had to regas the generator, though.
That night.
That was the bad job. Who gets to do that? Of course, Stevie, being the low man on the totem pole, he had, "I'll do that, guys. Don't you worry." He comes back in swearing his face off. Oh my God.
Oh, so yeah, there was a case. That was one I can remember for sure, where if we had the luxury of piloting our own float plane and had it sitting there, we probably would have.
Yeah.
The second day we would have packed up and gone, because it was the camera. Like, think of being a camera operator. It's one thing being an angler, and you can do whatever you want. But when you're a camera operator, you don't have that luxury. You have got to shoot that scene, and therefore, like, you're getting eaten alive, and you can't do anything about it.
Not good. Not good at all.
So yes, it does happen. Obviously, it would be great to book around those things. The problem is, in our business, and much like yourselves, when you decide you want to go on a fishing trip next year, you got to pick a date, and you don't have the luxury of knowing, well, does that coincide with the hatch? Does it coincide with the worst, day of the year? Does the weather play a role? You go, you put your money down and you go, and you got to hope for the best.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of tough it out, I guess. But my
I mean, I 100% see what he's talking about. I mean, we're grown adults that have been in the outdoors our whole lives, and he's got to bring his daughters into this environment. That's just nasty.
Can you imagine bringing a novice outdoors person into that environment?
Sorry. Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't do it. You can't do it. Anyways, great question. Hey, anglers, want to turn your next catch into a competition? Well, check out Anglers Leaderboard, the new fishing platform that lets you track your catches, join friendly competitions, enter tournaments, and see how you rank against others in your region. Use your phone and the photo measure board to automatically detect length and species. No more guesswork. Whether you're fishing for pleasure or to compete, ALB makes every catch count. What's your ALB score? Well, get Anglers Leaderboard today and start climbing the ranks. Visit anglersleaderboard.com to learn more. This episode is brought to you by Sail. Sail is proudly Canadian and stocked with over 100 Canadian brands you know and love.
From rods and reels to sonars to kayaks and every last lure you've seen on the Fishing Canada show, Sail has all the gear to get you on the water.
Drop into one of 12 stores across Ontario and Quebec and talk to the real fishing specialists, or gear up online anytime at sail.ca.
Sail, the ultimate destination for your outdoor adventures.
Alrighty, our guest today, as promised at the beginning of the program, her name is Dr. Catherine Bouchard. She's research scientist and veterinary epidemiologist. That's easy for me to say.
Almost got it. Yeah.
Epidemiologist with the Ticks and Tick-Borne Disease Unit, Public Health Agency of Canada, also an adjunct professor at the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine at the University de Montreal. Began studying ticks in 2008. She is definitely an expert. Welcome to the program, Catherine.
Thank you so much for the intro, Angelo, and hi, Pete, as well.
How are you?
By the way,
That was good. Well, you said that, buddy. It was bang on.
it was you could have just let it slip by.
No, I
Nobody
wanted you to
would've
do it
noticed
again because it makes if you double up on it, then you are 100%, brother, and you got it.
Catherine, you are the very first Canadian scientist that we've had on the program to speak about ticks.
So now we're going to get the truth, right?
Yeah.
The other ones where those other people just tell us stuff they want to tell us. Catherine will tell us the truth. Okay, good. I'm ready.
So my first question to you is, how does a person get interested and involved in the study of ticks? I mean, it is kind of out there, you have to admit. How did that happen for you?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I guess my first exposure to ticks was in East Africa.
Okay.
I was my third years in the veterinary medicine school, and we went to Kenya and Tanzania with two other students, friends of mine, for 3 months. And then actually the cattle there, they were really infested, like heavily, with these ticks, and they were turning blind. So I got really curious and asked these questions. Okay, wow, what is causing them to become blind and stuff like that? And so after I got back from that experience, I was not into the clinic work myself, even though I was studying veterinary medicine. So I really wanted to go into the epidemiology, like you mentioned at the beginning, my title. So that's where I got the expertise. I did a master PhD, and my PhD was on emerging Lyme disease. But really, that's the exposure in Africa, I guess, that got me curious. Plus, I'm really an outdoor person. Like, I did tree planting to pay my veterinary school studies. So, I like to be in the forest. For me, it was like an adventure. And yeah, why not? I'm going to go collect ticks and look for them in southern Quebec. So that's what I did.
Did you go to Africa for that reason, or was there something else and then you got onto that?
Yeah, no, it was for something else. It was really to get exposure to different veterinary practice, like with the cattle, the horses there, but as well the wildlife myself. Like, I wanted to explore the wildlife veterinary medicine as well.
Right.
So that's why.
Cool.
We started talking about ticks and, more importantly, Lyme disease on this program 20 years ago. And I have to tell you, it was for the first 10 years, it was very difficult for us because the medical community had not really accepted this thing called Lyme disease. It was still very much he said, she said. and there was no definitive.
Agreed.
You remember?
Oh my
it was
God!
bizarre.
It was almost like a covert, secret, mission.
We had medical doctors on the program. I remember. And asked them about this thing, and most of them denied it. Most of them said,
it's something else.
Yeah. And so it's refreshing to know now that 20 years later, we've actually got people who are working on studying it, because it's becoming a real issue for outdoors people, as you know. It seems like maybe it's just that we have more knowledge today. Maybe there's more attention being focused on it, but it just seems like we went from, the odd tick experience, very odd, to now it's almost expected, to the point where you have to kind of check yourself out, after you've come in from the outdoors.
Yes, and I agree with you. It has evolved a lot. Even myself, when I began in southern Quebec, it was not in evidence yet that the black-legged ticks were there, right? And after 2 years, then we had confirmed population of that black-legged ticks, like multiple stages over 2 years period. Like, it's not from the birds, right, dropping and surviving a few weeks. But even then, it took a few years until, now we not only we can say they are established black-legged tick population, but as well we have confirmed region with Borrelia burgdorferi infected ticks, right? And so you could tell that even the public health, it was a few steps to come together, and then we have confirmed established population of ticks, and then yes, we are confirming endemic zone for the Borrelia burgdorferi, the bacteria that is responsible for Lyme disease. So it took a few years, like you just mentioned, and then nowadays I guess it's going fast, right? It's just more ticks in more regions, basically, and the regions that have been the first ones who got these ticks, like in southern Ontario, Quebec, Maritime, in Nova Scotia, the incidence, the number of cases per year is just increasing.
Yeah, it's going crazy.
Right?
Wow. I remember too, we interviewed her, and her name escapes me. A female doctor from Montreal, who was kind of on the leading edge of this stuff back probably 15 years ago, to the point where she had opened a clinic in Montreal it was a Lyme disease clinic, that eventually she had to move it south of the border into the state of New York.
Right, I remember that. Yeah.
And we used to send people in our circles that we thought may have had Lyme disease. We used to send them to her in New York because she couldn't do it in Canada. So it was a bizarre kind of thing, and to see it come full circle now, today, is refreshing for us, because, like I said, when we started talking about this stuff, everybody thought we were crazy. And in fact, my grandson and I, we did get bit by ticks on a shoot, Fish in Canada episode a few years ago. So we've gone through the treatment thing too. So we're pretty familiar with that. But it's nice just to know now that mainstream medicine is accepting it, and there's cures. We also heard recently that one of the big pharmaceuticals has now come up with some kind of pill or medicine that might help in the prevention, I believe, of Lyme disease, or am I wrong on that one?
I wonder what you're referring to. I'm unsure. Of course, there are a few vaccine,
maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah,
there are some vaccine coming up, a few years, I guess. Okay. Still, there are clinical trials, I guess. At that stage.
Why is it taking so long for this, Catherine? Like, I mean, the Italians was talking 20 years ago, they were hiding it. And even to this day, I mean, people listening right now, I guarantee you hardly anybody knows about Lyme disease. And why is it taking so long to get a cure for this, or an easy cure for this? What's the deal?
There are a few things. Infectious disease themselves, like, it's not particular to Lyme, but the diagnostic tests most of them, they rely on antibodies detection, right?
Right.
Which takes a few weeks to be produced.
Yeah.
So it's as if once you got bitten, within the first 3 weeks, if you get your blood samples and they try to look for antibodies, there's a good chance they're not going to be there yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So you cannot rely on that.
Well, I remember
But of course, I want to say I'm a veterinarian. I'm not a medical doctor. Of course, I know medicine.
Yeah.
Right.
Please do understand that it's not my field of expertise. So
Yeah.
take that in account.
Yeah.
And then for the, I think for the treatment or the, of course, you have that doxycycline, the antibiotic that will work. But then it's more the delay before you get the treatment, right? And the delay can be caused because a good 2/3 of the people won't notice the tick bite.
Right.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
So that's an issue right there, like the immature stages. I don't know your tick story, Angelo. I don't know if it was a nymph or an adult. Like the adults are quite big, 2-3 millimeter before they take the blood meals. So of course, it's easier to spot them. But in spring, when it's the nymph that are most active, it's 1.5 millimeters. Like if your eyes are not experimented to detect them, there's a good chance.
Yeah, we're not going to see them, buddy. You and I.
And are they carrying Lyme disease at that stage?
Yeah, absolutely. So both nymph and adult can carry already the bacteria. The larva stage, no, actually, because you will be their first blood meal if they got into you. Okay.
Right.
And it's not transmitted vertically from the adult ticks toward the eggs. And once the eggs hatch into larvae, like the larvae are not yet infected.
Okay.
But that's true for Lyme disease or the Borrelia burgdorferi bacteria, but it's not true for every tick-borne pathogens. Some of them are actually transmitted vertically, which changed the thing. But all in all, you have to understand that the prevention tip, I think that works the best, is to really be on the lookout for these ticks on your body once you're back from your outdoor activity. And of course, remove them safely and promptly. There's a window before the bacteria is transmitted, like about 24 hours, 48 hours. There's really an increase in the bacteria that will be regurgitated at the tick bite site, right, from the midgut of the tick, because the ticks, when they take the blood meal, is really they're pumping the blood, but also they are extracting back the water. So it's a dynamic process, I'm gonna say. And then it mixes with the midgut where the bacteria is in them, and then it goes back into your bloodstream because of that. So there's that 24, 48 hour time frame before it happens. So myself in Quebec collecting ticks through my studies, I always detected these ticks on my shoulder, elsewhere on my bodies, right after my day of work. And then I would remove it within 5, 6, 7 hours. But the trick is, if you didn't detect it and it stays for, 36, 48 hours or more, then there's a likelihood that it was infected and it can be transmitted now to you, and you can develop the infection and symptoms.
What's the percentage of infected ticks? I mean, we every time, you just mention ticks and you automatically assume, oh my God, if I get bit by a tick, I'm done, right?
No, they're not all infected.
Right, exactly.
Right? And it's actually impressive how you could expect that it's super high, but it's actually really variable across Canada. Like, I can give you a full example. Like, I published, it's almost 10 years ago now, but the range of infection was about 10% to 50% in some really high risk area. So that's kind of that range. Nowadays, that it's more and more frequent, like I said, in some of the high risk or high endemic region that we have in Ontario, Quebec, Nova Scotia. These 3 provinces are quite high risk and lots of cases, I have to say. So in these regions, from 20-30%, but sometimes you will have these hotspot of 40% and more infection prevalence. So that's why now that we don't hesitate, right? And we have evolved even ourselves as as scientists, and the students we work with, the interns that we work with nowadays. We prevent ourselves differently. We have different measures that we have included, such as the permethrin treated clothing, right?
Well,
because it does help.
I thought that was illegal in Canada.
So, well, now since a few years, there's it's not to advertise, but there is like a no-fly zone brand that you can easily get your hands on, pants, long
sleeve shirts.
Yeah, long sleeve, exactly, and kind of outdoorsy material, so it's a bit breathable.
Right.
you can look, but it's actually quite effective. I got to say it's really to observe it, because we did some tests. We were really curious because it's supposed to work 70 wash, like 70 times that you use thing, or 70 wash, and then the permethrin is done on the clothing. And yeah, like you can tell within a few minutes, the ticks, once they walk on it, they get
disoriented. They look like they're drunk.
Or even a non-coordinated movement, right?
Yeah.
So as if they were drunk, and then you know they're going to die in a few minutes. But the good thing is, because of these type of behavior, you know they won't be healthy enough to bite you.
Right.
So we have really reduced the number of tick bites in our team using these new options. So this is something that, when you cannot use all of the preventive behavior, you cannot stay on the track. Your job is actually to be off path and go and collect the ticks. Then just go for the these type of measure. I think
it's funny when we got it, when Nick and I got it, we were in one of those hot zones that you talked about, right? So, and we knew it. We knew going in that this could be a bit of a challenge for us. So we made sure that we were buttoned down, head to toe. And there was no way that a tick could get. We were wearing the our rainwear and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was just no way that a tick could get to us. There was absolutely, in our minds, we were 110%.
But it did, right?
But two of them did, on each one of us. So that's the next question I've got to ask you.
It's a millimeter and a half, buddy. It's pretty small.
No, but how does it get into areas that are buttoned down?
They could get in there. It's tiny.
Crazy.
It's
tiny.
Actually, it reminds me of my own personal story. So we used to do field study in a military bases in Quebec, in Fernam. It's such a high density of ticks there. The vegetation too was quite high. And that morning, just going through the high vegetation, I felt like you, Angelo, fully proof, Gore-Tex. It was raining, everything super tight. I was actually pregnant.
Oh boy.
And then I had that larvae on my belly, pregnant belly. Biting me.
How?
Wow.
And then I realized, wow, they're good. They're good to find the skin. Like, they're good.
They're hungry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So let me understand. You can buy clothing in Canada that's infused with permethrin, but you cannot buy permethrin to spray or use on it.
No, you can't.
Exactly.
Okay, but I mean, legally for people, just like without going through your little loop, which you can talk about in a minute. But let's say if I walked into somewhere, hey, I need some permethrin, I gotta go out. No, you can't get that, sir. But I can sell you this clothing, right? Normally, that's what it is. So, but what you're saying, you can say it, you can talk about it.
Well, Catherine, we get it from the equestrian community because it's used regularly on horses.
Yeah,
and it's the only effective product they use that works. So
It sounds kind of weird, right? It sounds like not an oxymoron, but whatever. In that you can use it on horses, but you can't on humans, so it's not safe on humans. But that's not what it is.
No, it's
right?
not the fact that it's not safe on humans.
Exactly.
That's the misnomer out there. It's not unsafe at all. The reason, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they have banned it in Canada is because there are some adverse effects to aquatic creatures, bees,
Critters.
other insects that make contact with it. You could, destroy a local population of something. And bees were the big thing on the list. I remember when I did the research on it, bees were the big problem, right?
So that's the thing. Permethrin, like it's not specific to kill ticks. It's gonna kill it all.
Right.
You use that even if you go to your. Again, I'm trying not to advertise, but like you can use that to make sure the ants are not getting your wood in your house and stuff like that,
okay,
right? So, but then the legislation is stronger in Canada for permethrin use. So that's why it's not something you get your hands on easily, and it's good to permethrin actually can kill a cat. Did you know that?
No. Oh,
wow.
Like small quantity, if they get exposed to permethrin, they can kill your cat. Wow. So again, there are safety that I guess you need to be aware. So that's why I believe the permethrin treated clothing that are like approved by Health Canada that you can buy online, from different distributors. I think they are the safest route,
Right.
Yep.
but because of the side effect that you might create because maybe you didn't follow the instruction, and that
Here's
would
a
be my
question for you.
recommendation.
Here's a question for you. Just arose up. So I bought myself this nice new, all this beautiful outfit and all that.
You look
Fold
lovely
it up.
in that outfit.
Thank
by the
you,
way.
Angelo. Thank you. I'm going to go dancing in it later. I fold it all up and I set it on my bed. And the cat jumps up on the bed and he lays down on top of this stuff. Would that affect the cat?
That's a good question, but I think it would be too small dose. Plus it's dry out, right? The thing, if you spray, it's like already a bit wet and liquid, and then that's the issue if the cat goes by and then just lick it. Lick it, I guess, stuff like that. So that's the exposure that would be important. And
Safe.
I'm just checking because the cat pisses me off a lot lately. So I'm just getting it on my head.
Safe to assume, no, not assume, scientifically proven that our normal means of deterring other biting insects such as mosquitoes and black flies, etc., from biting us, which is DEET product, right? Low dosage DEET does not work.
Icaridin,
It does not work on ticks. Apparently, you can spray all you want. It's not.
It's a different mechanism. It's a repellent,
right?
So it's gonna work.
Sometimes.
Until the tick wasn't repelled to it.
Exactly. Exactly. Good point.
That's good. Yeah.
So that's like mosquito, right? It's gonna work to a certain level. Like I recall when I was tree planting, I felt like a boxer. Like I was so swollen by the fly bites in the north of BC. So, it's the same. I was using some product, but they didn't work 100%. That's for sure. So I guess that would be.
What is causing this? I call it an outbreak. From mentioning it once or twice a year that you had seen one to now, it's common knowledge that every time you go out in overgrown bush area, first of all, you might as well put those shorts and T-shirt away because that's not the way to go anymore. And that's a big deal for outdoors people. That's a big deal, right? Sure but what's causing this to happen? Now, I remember that mice were a big vector, and also deer. Am I right? Those two mammals carried them.
Yeah, so just to specify, some of these mice are the reservoir hosts of the bacteria.
Right.
So you're correct. The deer is different. They're like the reproduction hosts, and they are important for the tick life cycle, to be concluded, like the female adult tick, once she bites the deer and stay there 10 days or so to complete the blood meal, the male will be in the lookout in the fur of the deer, and that's where they will mate. And, a few weeks after 10 days after the blood meal, it detach. Few weeks after, it lay 2,000, 3,000 eggs. So that's why we say the deer are the reproduction host. It's different. Actually, they have evolved in a way that their immune system clear the bacteria. So the deer, they are not reservoir of Borrelia.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's quite interesting to know. And sometimes it's confused, like even in the media, it's not always well reported.
So they're just
now it is.
They're just a transporter. They just move it around, right? They move the tick around
a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whereas mice they're different.
Yeah, so when I say they are the reservoir host, it means that they are kind of the source of the bacteria in a sense. They are in the nature, the way it has evolved. These mice and the ticks have evolved in a way that it's most often these type of mice that will carry the bacteria, maintain it, and transmit it back to other immature ticks. Jeez. So they are. We call them amplification host, even because
you got that
they
right.
will contribute to increase the prevalence of infection that we were discussing. Yeah.
I got a question now, and maybe this might, because you're not a doctor, you're a veterinarian.
No.
Maybe it's different, but it's got to be this way. Do different people? So could Angelo be very highly susceptible to Lyme disease? I could get bit by an infected animal and never even have a symptom of it. Is there a difference in humans like that, our immune systems, or is it we're all going to tap out here?
No, it's actually a good question. There are individual difference in the way you will get the clinical diseases. So sometimes people will be asymptomatic, which means you got exposed to the bacteria, for example, but then
nothing happened.
It's asymptomatic, right. Or the disease is auto-limiting. You will have something, and then for Lyme disease, I think it's not something commonly reported. As a veterinarian, I can tell you that for dogs, actually 5 to 10% only of the dogs will get the symptoms, will be symptomatic. And
right.
like 90 to 95% won't be symptomatic, although they got exposed. Wow. So it's kind of the different thing. But for humans, that's not the case in the literature. So
we interrupt this program to bring you a message from Anglers Leaderboard, an AI-powered platform built for today's anglers. Use your phone and the photo measure board to automatically detect length and species, log catches, and track your stats over time. Whether you're fishing solo or joining a regional tournament, ALB helps you stay organized and competitive. Head over to anglersleaderboard.com to learn more and start using ALB today. Right. Okay.
Because, for folks listening to this, and I don't know how this would happen, but being exposed to Lyme disease information for the first time, you need to know that if you are one of those people, or animals, dog in this case, that is highly susceptible to the symptoms, it is totally, it's a bizarre disease.
It is.
We know people, I'll get into my personal little scrape with Lyme disease here in a moment, but we know people who have been hospitalized for years because it was detected too late, because there was nothing at the time that there was no information that they could have received from the medical community. There was no antidote. There was nothing. And so they were completely, we know one woman, Catherine Maroon is her name. She was a television host as well. And she's been carrying it now for the better part of 15 years.
She's still got it.
And she still has to have, if not daily, weekly treatments. But it's completely, it changed her life. So it's a very serious disease.
And what you're talking about is it's like persistent symptoms, right?
Yes.
Right.
So, and with infectious disease, it's as if you have acute symptoms, and sometimes persistent symptoms will occur. And it's not. Of course, there has been a bit of controversy on this, or controversy on the subject. But I think that from the literature in the recent years, the body of work that have been in the lookout is that, from 5-10% of these people with objectify acute Lyme disease, they will later, years after, still have persisting symptoms. So that's something to understand. I guess with the COVID thing, it's nowadays more accepted because the long COVID and the
Long
medical
COVID.
staff experimenting these type of long COVID symptoms, right? But I got to tell you, it's not my field of research. There's a lot of unknown. There's lots of gap. There's lots of research to be occurring in that.
Right.
But yeah, so yes, it can be devastating for some people.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
On the other hand, lots of cases, if promptly diagnosed, promptly treated with the antibiotic, they will resolve, right, and remain in that acute phase, I'm going to say. But you did mention there are a variety of systems that are impacted by that bacteria. Like there's the skin, I guess, the skin manifestation, the erythema migrans, that's something. But not only that, the neurological system. So some people will get paralysis of their faces.
Oh God, really?
Arthritis. This was first described in U.S., on the East Coast in the mid-70s, mostly reported in kids and some adults who developed arthritis weeks after they got exposed to the tick bite. It was only retrospectively, like 6 years after, that they understood, it's from that tick bite, and that tick within the tick, here is the bacteria. And that's really Bouchard fur. So that's why it's called Borrelia burgdorferi. But yeah, so several clinical manifestation, and then cardiac manifestation as well.
Wow.
So that's something else too. So that's why I think there are lots of good resources to find out more about the different symptoms. Like I said, the different systems that can be targeted, the acute versus the disseminated phases within the disease. And of course, the tick check. Try to prevent the tick-borne disease to even happen. So systemic, like military routine tick check, and remove it as fast as possible.
So right. And I never do. I never even think that. And most people probably don't.
No, and then you got the other thing, Catherine, let's not forget, you cannot check all of your body 100%,
right?
Because you don't have eyes in the back of your head. So the perfect scenario
you need
is
to find a buddy.
Exactly. The perfect scenario is to have a relationship with your outdoors buddy.
Angelo, you're gonna die.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's really the only way to do it, is that if you can get into a routine. Take us for example, right? We spend so much time in the woods and the outdoors. If we could get into a routine where every member of the crew is here and everybody's checking, but that's really the only 100% safe way of.
And you got to burn the ticks off with a cigar.
No,
leeches.
No, bad way to do it.
No, it's not. So I said I'll share this with the audience here in a moment. So. And I'll do it now. And it's funny because you just went through all of the symptoms that I experienced. Every single one, bang on. About 25 years ago, I got sick for no particular reason. I got sick. And the way it manifested itself first was I was diagnosed with Bell's palsy because one side of my face,
Yep.
my eye, was completely drooped. My eye was closed. It wasn't producing tears. Like it was a major event. While this was happening, and while the medical community was trying to figure out what's going on, all of a sudden, every single joint in my body, and I mean every single joint in my body, was all of a sudden an area of constant pain. 3 months into this, I started walking with a cane. It was that bad. And my GP, of course, at that point, he threw his hands up in the air and said, we've checked you for everything, including AIDS. That's how thorough they had worked on me, right? And I got nothing to give you. He said, I'll send you here. We'll do that. And it was almost to the point where he thought I was making this stuff up. But I spent a year walking with a cane, a whole year. And then it just slowly, the droopiness stopped. My eye was back to normal, and the pain started subsiding a little bit to the point where I was really happy that, if it was 100% when it was really bad, I was now at about 35% pain, and I was fine with that. I was happy with that. I spent the next 25 years right to today with being fine, having joint pains constantly. And I swear, although it was never diagnosed, because back then nobody even knew about Lyme disease.
Yeah.
It wasn't even on the table. It was not even a question. That I swear I had Lyme disease. And somehow my body managed to push through it. After a few years, it just accepted it. And from what I understand from the scientific community, you never really get rid of it. Is that true? Or is that sort of one of those folklores again with this? Because this disease is very much, it's so different than anything else. There's just so little information. And I'm so happy that people like yourself are working on it from a scientific standpoint, because we need some answers.
Yeah, and me on my side, like I'm not gonna lie here, I'm not really working into that type of research. Yeah. Like myself, it's more about let's optimize the surveillance. Let's make sure we know where it is, where it's emerging. Like right now, I'm working on anaplasmosis, who's emerging a lot, and then wildlife surveillance, that kind of stuff. Because I'm a veterinarian after all, right? Yeah. But like you just mentioned, and it's true for I think a lot of medical issue. There's what we know and what we don't know, right? And there's a fine line, and who knows what happened, right? Yeah. And I don't think there's a way of knowing with certainty in your case, because like you mentioned, perhaps you were exposed.
Oh, I'm convinced of it. You don't remember? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember you walking with a cane. I remember that.
At one point, I looked like a pirate. I had a patch over one eye.
That's right, yeah,
and I had a cane.
You remember saying, laddie, to everybody.
But I'm wondering how many people out there listening to this now are saying, hey, you know what? Maybe I had it. Because I do think I read some research that in a lot of cases, untreated Lyme disease the body can work it out. In most of us, the body does zig and zag enough that you can work through it. In some cases, like Catherine's case, that's not.
That's why I was kind of asking if we fight it differently, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Every immune system maybe works differently. Everybody works differently. But in her case, obviously, not the case, right? Yeah. So, but it's a fascinating subject.
One quick question, Catherine. You said the deer are the breeding vectors or whatever you call it, right? For the tick?
Reproduction host, yes, breeding, host.
Okay, so is it higher deer population, higher tick population, lower deer population, lower tick population? Is as simple as that?
Well, I guess I didn't answer your question, Angelo, before, and Pete, maybe that's the way I come back to it. What is driving that explosion, right?
Right.
Of course, in the context of climate change, you got these warmer, longer season, basically. So from it depends where you are in Canada, but from March to sometime December, there's no snow cover.
Right.
And the temperature is good enough that the ticks are active, right? And then we live nowadays within disturbed ecosystem where generalist species are overabundant because they are the best one to adapt in these fragmented habitat. So the mice, the Peromyscus mice, are generalist species. The white-tailed deer, overabundant, right? I don't know if you have that problem where you are, but I know in southern Quebec, that's something. There's a big project with different peri-urban parks who's looking exactly at that question that you mentioned, Pete. So if we do intervention to reduce the deer density, what is the impact on the density of ticks, on the number of infected ticks as well? Like, will it drive also the prevalence of infection? Just because of the numbers, we will reduce the number of ticks. And but what is the threshold for it to happen? Like, how many deers do we need to remove to have a real impact?
Yeah.
But we know that our ecosystem right now are quite challenged, and the remaining forest patch become these high refugee for lots of wildlife occurring and meeting, and therefore these ticks and host and pathogen to exchange, and we just go into these spots.
Right.
Here I am.
Hey, let's join the party.
Catherine, you just hit on something. So, in the perfect world, if we can even call it perfect, a tick is born on a deer, right?
It's not actually. The most of his lifetime will be spent on the litter layer, like over the soil, basically.
But where is it born?
Stay underground. Yeah.
Where is it born?
On the ground.
Where it's born, underground. So the adult female will lay the 2,000, 3,000 eggs, like a big bowl of eggs, I guess, on the soil, underneath the leaves, like the leaves that falls every fall, stuff like that. It's humid. It's protect them. Yeah.
And at that point, when it's under those leaves, is it free of the disease? In other words, does it have to make contact with something like a mouse to be infected?
Yeah. So that's how. So the seasonality here is important. It's a bit more complex, but I'm going to take time to explain. So basically, every spring you have these nymph that will resume activity. It's from a previous cohort of ticks. Nymph can be infected, like I mentioned, because they have been through already one blood meal as larvae, and now they transition to become nymph, right? So they got infected. Let's just say it got infected. It's a nymph. It's resuming activity. It's questing. It's going to get a mice. Let's just say a Peromyscus mice. Gets on it, transmit back the bacteria to the mice. That mice is a fresh mice. It's a new mice of the year. Okay? Right, yeah. It's going to remain infected a few weeks. And by summer, July month approximately, the larvae, that's their peak of activity. So the larvae will get questing, not like they're hatching from the eggs. They're now larvae, and they are on the lookout for these rodents. And now they attach an infected mice. So that's how now that larvae will get the infection, transform, become a nymph, following spring, and yada yada.
And that's the only way it gets infected?
Yeah, basically, that's how it happened. Okay. Like I mentioned, some different tick-borne pathogen will be transmitted vertically, so the adult female will transmit the pathogen already to the egg. So the larvae, once they are questing, they're already infected with that pathogen. Wow. So now it's different. It is as if both ticks and rodents can be reservoir in the
Right.
ecosystem,
Wow.
and amplifying those loop of infection.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah.
That's the perfect storm.
Yeah.
It can get it either way.
Yeah.
It can be born with it, or it can pick it. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What are we going to do? That's the question we need to ask. What are we going to do as outdoors people? We're not going to quit going outdoors.
No, exactly.
So what are we going to do?
Yeah, so I like to mention the before, during, and after tips, right? So before, what do you do? Well, you don't use your flip flop. You go and do your external activities.
I can do my flip flops in the boat. No problem in the boat. Okay.
long clothing, boots, shoes, like hermetic. You mentioned it. You try to be tight, like, and make sure you're not sealed, but almost as if.
Yeah.
And then stay on path the more you can. If it's not your job to not be on the path, I'm
Right.
going to say the repellent, they will be effective to a certain point, but in high risk region, I'm going to switch my recommendation toward permethrin treated clothing. Plus, if you cannot stay on the path, just use the permethrin treated clothing. And then the idea that you need to reapply the DEET, right, during the activities if you sweat a lot and stuff like that, because then it loses efficacy. Follow, of course, all the instruction, the labels, Health Canada products that are homologated, because it makes them more safe to use. That's of concern, even more so for the kids. And then after, I think it's the most important. Tick check. Just get naked. Go. If you're outdoors still, just, well, if you can wash, good. If you cannot, just have that tick check, complete tick check. Ask a buddy to do your back.
But washing, you said washing. Washing does not remove them.
No, but it's actually, it was found to be protective. But like you said, if it attach, if it's already bitten you, like, it's going to stay. It's not going to remove the tick. But then because you get naked to go wash, then you spot them. So it's kind of a protective behavior in that sense. But it's really your eyes that are your tools to spot them and remove them safely, promptly. There's a good video from the federal website at Public Health Agency of Canada, how to remove a tick, and it's actually pretty well done. And the good tip, like the fine point tweezer, how to handle it, and then
Cool.
And keeping it is important too. I know it sounds weird, but if you do find one, keep it. Put it in a little baggie, because that tick could, or that specimen could help whoever because if you found one on your body, you're going to have to make the assumption that it was an infected tick and that it has transmitted Lyme disease into your body. You have to assume that right away. Don't say, well, no, it's probably, I don't think. You have to assume that it does, right?
And nowadays, with the new tick-borne diseases, I think it's more true. Keep the tick if you got bitten. Like, if you have weird symptoms developing, like, there are these days new emerging tick-borne pathogens. Sometimes they might, if you have it still, they could ask and send it to the lab. But typically, it's not the tick specimen. It's not used for diagnostic, but it's in some rare instance with the newest emerging tick-borne diseases, it could be useful.
Man, oh man. It just, the people listening to this right now say, are you guys crazy? I'm looking forward. It's spring. I'm looking forward to get out
in the creek, and turkey hunting. And, exactly.
But maybe I have a good story on that.
Yes.
Maybe I when I was doing my PhD, actually, I was down in Mexico in January month in a field crop. And just for the pleasure with friends, right? Doing some hiking and stuff like that. And actually, then we spent a night there, sleeping bags, hammock. It's cold. It's 15 degrees or so. wearing a new merino wool thing. Back
Of
then it was a
course.
new thing.
Of course.
Itchy. I was so itchy during that night. Itchy all night. And the next morning, my friend who just woke up, she was, Kat, do you have spider on yourself? And then I realized, I wasn't itchy because of the merino wool. I was itchy
ticks.
because I was covered in larvae of embryoma ticks. So, and then the good story, it's not to make people afraid. My good story is that after that, we got by. I said to my friend, okay, let's get out of here. I'm done. And then on the way out, hitchhiking, we met with women that were in the field crop. And I was asking them in Spanish, what's the name of the ticks and blah, blah, blah. And then they would just put their dress up and showing me their legs. Don't worry, they're going to drop in a few days, right? So they were so used to it. And the spectrum of reaction there, I was like, wow. They would just let the ticks feed on them. That was the thing.
Oh my God, that's tough.
Not
Those
me.
are tough
I
life
removed
there.
them. So there's a real spectrum. And I think the point being, I think it's good to get outdoor, be protected, use the common prevention tip, reduce the risk, but still enjoy the outdoor. That's the thing.
Good point.
So, before we let you go, what are you working on right now? Can you shed some light on that?
I have a few research projects occurring. Like I mentioned, we did a cool project on anaplasmosis, which is the second tick-borne diseases after Lyme disease that is the most frequent in North America. And we actually sampled the deer. And then we found out that actually the role of the deer for the anaplasmosis bacteria might be more tricky than what we thought, because they are exposed to the zoonotic variant. And we thought it was really separate thing. We thought, there was one variant for the deer and another variant for the humans, and they never were mixed. It looks different. So that's interesting. So we will get more study toward understanding the contribution of deer in the expansion of anaplasmosis. I guess that's something. And we are just starting and co-constructing a new research project doing a sentinel surveillance with Cree communities in Bay James in northern Quebec, because even them at the south of Bay James area, or James Bay area, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
They have some tick species under ungulates, and trappers, hunters are reporting them. And so we're going to just partner together and make sure that, they have the tools, they sample a bit, and we are on the lookout, right?
Wow.
I keep coming up with these questions I have to ask you, because I'll hate myself if you go and I haven't. We keep talking about tick, Lyme disease, etc. It's a very specific tick we're talking about, right? The black-legged tick that carries Lyme. No other tick that you know of carries Lyme disease?
So that black-legged ticks, it transmit a lot. It can transmit. It can. Not all of them would be infected, but it can transmit up to 7 pathogens. So it's a species that is really important for public health. So I guess lots of research is oriented toward that species. And Lyme is one. Yeah. So Lyme would be the main vector tick species would be the eastern black-legged ticks. But on the west coast, the western black-legged tick, Ixodes pacificus, it can transmit Borrelia burgdorferi as well, but it's in a lower prevalence of infection typically in that species. So there's a real good fit between the black-legged ticks and the Borrelia in the southeast of Canada. Yeah.
How can people get more informed? That's probably the big question we need to ask you. Where can they go? For example, you mentioned hot zones. I know that I believe it was the federal government used to publish hot zones. Are we still at that stage where we can find those?
Yeah, I think a good tip is to go look within your province. So the provincial public health website, they will be, updated typically. Even local public health units typically have good information about tick-borne disease. And then the federal level, of course, if you want to have an overview of, the numbers across Canada by province and stuff like that. But I guess you can get really specific and go local public health, regional, and even provincial public health for the specific data, surveillance data, human cases reported, stuff like that. I think it's always good to consult them. Interestingly, there's TickTool, which is hosted right now on etick.ca. Etick.ca, maybe you've known this. If you found a tick on yourself, on your dogs or your cats in the environment nearby where you live, you can take a photo and you will get the tick identification for free within even 24, 48 hours typically. So that's etick.ca. On that website, you can get more info. What do I do if I got bitten? What do I do to prevent or make sure that my house or my property is more safe in terms of tick prevention, right? So TickTool is hosted on etick.ca. So that's another way to get your information.
Yeah, it'll help. It'll certainly, maybe peace of mind more than anything else. Although, as Catherine was saying, I'm thinking, just because an area is not earmarked as a hot zone doesn't really mean anything.
No.
Especially areas that we go to are so remote, you would think, well, there's nothing here. There's no... Yeah, you have to still be careful.
Maybe, but like you said, when they are so out there, perhaps there hasn't been surveillance activities up to there. So be on the lookout. I agree.
Always.
Catherine, you have no idea how much we enjoyed having you on the show
and learned
and appreciate your work. I'd like to give you an open invitation. Anytime you've got some news or a breakthrough, what you're working on now, if you can share any of that with us at any time with our audience, we would appreciate it immensely. We'll also keep in touch with you and ask you questions and see what's going on out there. And keep up the good work. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
Excellent. Right.
Well, just when you thought it was safe. Huh?
Yeah, well, you always forget about it, right? We know about it. It's always looming out there, but you just forget about it. You don't even think about it. Like Dean would be the only guy in our group that would think a lot about it because of his hunting in the spring, right? I mean, if you and I did our creek fishing that we used to do as young lads, you know what I mean? That would be just the perfect spot.
Shorts and barefoot in my case.
Yeah, in the summertime you get out there for sure.
Wow.
Like that. So I don't do that as much, but I mean, still. God almighty.
But it doesn't matter whether you're in a thick wooded area or not. I mean, it's certainly. Oh man, it's certainly scary. Not to the point where you shouldn't be in the outdoors, not the point where you shouldn't enjoy the outdoors, but maybe in the point where you just need to. It's another tool. It's another outdoor tool. From now on, you need to be cognizant of the fact that you could get bit by one of these ticks. And the two things that are important, the takeaways from this show is, number one, self-check. Self-check. And I'm guilty of this all the time.
I'm the worst. I'm worse than
self-check.
Anybody.
It's so important when you come in from... Now, in our case, if we're just going from the cottage to the boat and spend the day out in the water, chances are pretty much zero that we came in contact with a tick. But if that takes you to a path where you have to walk a ways into the woods to get to that cabin.
Go for a timber shed.
Well, there's that too. I didn't want to be so rude, but of course I can count on you for that one.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Especially then, right? Then you need to check yourself at the end of the day. What I'm going to do, and I'm going to suggest to you until further notice, that you get yourself. And Catherine hopefully is not listening to this right now. And the clothing is fine.
Yep.
It's great.
At least do that.
But I would strongly suggest that you go to a place that, sells horse gear and get yourself a bottle of this product. As she said, it's not, they're selling it, so it's not illegal.
Right.
But it is the only effective way to kill ticks. So I would suggest that you make that part of your toolkit, outdoors toolkit. Have a bottle of it, spray yourself before you go out there, spray your clothes. I don't know whether you should carry it out there with you and start randomly spraying, because that could maybe cause other insects some problems. We don't want to do that. But
I've seen
certainly
spiders curl up and die on my pants when I'm out hunting and stuff. It
Exactly.
gets everything. Yeah.
We had one in Wawa. I went out for a dart in the middle of the night.
Yeah, you were saying.
And I was like, you know those mosquito zappers? That
Yeah.
You could just see things dying as it touches you. It was me. Something would hit and bump.
That's wild.
That
I
is
will mention,
crazy.
though,
They
for
were dying
people,
left and right.
when we say like keep an eye on yourself after you're outside, I've got more. So from your dog, especially if you're in an area, I've got more when like you're not expecting it. When like you've just been on the couch and then all of a sudden you notice you have one on your neck, because your dog brings them in. Where I used to live, my dog would bring one in every day. So I
remember you saying that.
I would check myself every night, and also when I'm hunting, I've got more that I find in the truck like a day or two after, because they're crawling on you. You get unchanged when you're in the truck, and then they're crawling around there, and then all of a sudden on your way to the office, you have one on your neck.
Now you get your short sleeve shirt on or
So
something.
what I do is I change outside after hunting, and I put all my stuff into a garbage bag, and then from there it goes into my dryer when I get home, because that'll kill them. The heat will kill them. So that's what I do every time I go.
There you
out.
go.
Yeah.
That's craziness, man. Does permethrin, do we have any evidence? So obviously, in Nick, in that story you were just telling about having sprayed yourself with it, and you saw a spider just curl up and die.
Well, that one has happened to me too. Yeah.
Yeah, or Dean, I guess we're saying. Do we have any evidence to prove that? So it's not a repellent, right? Let's get that straight.
Well,
it's not going to deter.
It smells like citronella, at least the one that I have, and citronella does repel.
Right. This is not a
some
repellent.
things.
Permethrin is not a repellent.
It's not a repellent.
So the fact that they allow it on horses tells me that it's not environmentally problematic. In other words, if you just spray this stuff out there, it's going to kill plants and it's going to kill. That's not the case. Otherwise, it wouldn't be allowed to be sold in that industry where they're spraying horses at.
Well, we
at
sell
will.
all kinds of stuff that's horrible for the environment, like
Well, that's true,
Roundup. We let
Yeah,
people
like
spray.
we
Yeah.
really don't care.
Yeah, that's
Capitalism won on that
Well,
front.
they've done away with Roundup, right?
No, we not in Canada. We do it.
Oh, we do it still.
We spray it all over the place.
Spray,
I guess at some point you got to, make a personal choice, right? I
What I will say though, it's not just as easy as just spraying your clothes with permethrin and then going outside. I spend a few hours. I hang up everything, like when we're packing, I hang up everything I'm going to wear and individually douse every pant, sock, underwear, hoodie, t-shirt, and then I let them dry overnight. I give them a second round of blasting because I just really hate bugs. And then at that point,
I can see him doing that.
I'm good. My basement smells like I do it inside too.
They do recommend, by the way, that it's not against your skin, just to let you know.
that's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask you. So you shouldn't spray yourself.
No,
You shouldn't spray
you should
yourself,
not.
and you shouldn't spray your underwear and do what Nick does. You
I
should
do it
not
though
that.
because I had that story about
Wow.
the tick was found in the excrement region is my body.
Yes,
on
I know.
the
And that's-
lower left cheek.
And that's why the
the
self-check with a buddy is key.
Sometimes
I've
your
got an
granddad
idea
has
for
to,
the store,
you know.
boys.
All right.
Okay, Nick, take note of this.
All right, let me get my pen.
T-shirt says
Now, Nick is the adjunct store manager. You know that, right? You could. No, I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, the real power holder is
he's
the
adjunct.
countess.
The countess. The countess is
She's
who you should be
full-time.
speaking
He's
to.
not here so much, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no, you got me off
all
track.
there
Oh, yeah,
on
new
a good day.
T-shirt. It's going to say, tick check. Let's get naked.
I love it.
I actually really like that.
That's
Mark
pretty damn
that
good.
down.
I'm
Catherine,
actually-
you're going to
I'm
get
actually
credit. You
writing
and I are
that
going to get
down.
rich on that, Catherine. That's
Wow.
I like
my
that.
pen-
I love it.
Let's get naked.
Okay, that's trademarked, by the way. As soon as we put it on
That's right.
public conveyance like this, we automatically assume the right to that.
And it'll remind everybody So check for ticks
Done.
and whatever
That's
else
the
happens.
next T-shirt that will be available on the store. Wow, we're running into overtime. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Hopefully, somebody out there has gotten at least one person now can say, okay, great. I'm going to go in and get checked or something along those lines, because it's a terrible disease.
It is nasty.
And you do not want to get it. And more importantly, you don't want to get it and it's not diagnosed, because it's murder.
And
Remember
don't
that
forget, there's more than just Lyme you
etick.ca,
can get.
tick tool. Remember that too.
Yeah.
In case.
All right,
Sorry,
on
Nick.
behalf of the whole crew, Nikki V, Dean, the dancing machine Taylor.
What was Nicky? What would you say? What was his the
I'm going to call him the adjunct.
the adjunct?
So let me
I
get
love
it straight. Before the sale is on and I fix everything and this is doing great, I'm the store manager. But now that everything's going well, I'm the adjunct store manager.
Well, Nick, if anybody aside from Angela, myself, and Dean here saw the reality of your workflow, adjunct, you're probably moving up if you're called adjunct. That's just promotion for you, okay?
I'm just going to edit that right out.
You do a million.
I'm going to edit that right out. You know what? Maybe I will. Maybe
What
I
we're
won't.
saying, you're
I have the power in my
an
hands.
onion of many layers, okay? You do a lot of things.
I'm like a box of chocolate.
Exactly. Store managing is just one.
Just
That's
one.
where it's a compliment. We're giving you a compliment. We're not. It's not negative.
I might
Probably
turn Peter
Did he buy that?
He's
or-
starting a union here, isn't he? I know what he's doing here.
I gotta go. Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll catch you next time. This episode of Outdoor Journal Radio has been brought to you in part by the Invasive Species Center, protecting Canada's land and water from invasive species. Freedom Cruise Canada, rent the boat, own the memories. And J&B Cycle and Marine, your home for all things power sports, boats, and equipment.